Why intelligent people scare society. They don't hate you because you're smart. They fear you because you see, because you question, because you don't accept the world as it is, and that makes you dangerous. Not in the way that society defines danger, with violence or chaos, but in a subtler, more unsettling way. You disrupt illusions. You ask, why, when everyone else has already agreed to just nod and move on. You notice the cracks. You point at the curtain hiding the machine. And the world doesn't like that, because most people aren't looking for truth. They're looking for comfort. And intelligent people, they tend to shatter comfort like glass. Think about this. In every era, those who saw too much were either worshipped or destroyed. Socrates was sentenced to death. Galileo was imprisoned. Hypatia was torn apart by a mob. Not because they were wrong, but because they saw beyond the limits of their time. They spoke in ways that unsettled the powerful and confused the masses. They dared to illuminate what others preferred to keep in the dark. Intelligence, true intelligence, isn't just knowledge. It's vision. It's the capacity to hold contradictions, to sit with uncomfortable truths, to ask questions without clear answers. It's not always eloquent or socially graceful. Often it's awkward, alienated, quietly observing while the rest of the world dances to music it doesn't hear. And society? Society is built on agreement, on shared fictions, on norms and rituals that keep people in line. So when someone comes along who doesn't play along, who sees the absurdity, who laughs in places where they were supposed to bow, they become a threat. That's why intelligent people often feel like exiles. Not because they want to be different, but because they can't unsee, they can't pretend. It's not that they think they're better, it's that they're on a different wavelength altogether. There's a term in psychology, existential anxiety. It's the kind of inner tension that arises when you confront the vastness of reality, the fragility of meaning, the inevitability of death. Most people avoid this kind of thinking like the plague, but intelligent minds, they dive into it. They stare at the abyss and take notes. And then they try to tell the rest of us what they saw. But instead of listening, we call them weird or arrogant or unstable. Because, let's be honest, society doesn't know what to do with people it can't categorize. We idolize genius in hindsight. We build statues and quote their words long after they're gone. But while they're alive, we ridicule them, mock their intensity, tell them to lighten up, to stop overthinking, to just enjoy life. But how can you just enjoy life when you're painfully aware of all the injustice, all the illusion, all the silent suffering hiding beneath polite conversation? Highly intelligent people often feel like aliens in their own homes. They hear the noise of the world, but it doesn't make sense. They look around and see people obsessing over status, appearance, shallow goals, and they feel disconnected, not better, just different. Carl Jung once said, "The more intelligent the individual, the more they suffer." Because intelligence isn't just a gift, it's a burden. It isolates, it overwhelms, it turns your mind into a never-ending mirror maze, always reflecting, always questioning, never resting. And yet, we need these minds, desperately. They're the ones who innovate, who write the books that change lives, who challenge the systems that keep us asleep. They're the ones who dare to imagine something better, something deeper. But they rarely get the credit in their own time, because their ideas arrive early, before the world is ready, and people fear what they don't understand. Look at the modern workplace. The truly intelligent are often labeled difficult. They ask too many questions. They don't follow blindly. They challenge the leadership. So they get sidelined, not because they're wrong, but because they make others uncomfortable. They break the illusion of competence that mediocre people work so hard to protect. Even in education, intelligence can be a problem. Our schools aren't built for thinkers. They're built for obedience, for memorization, for test-taking. So a child who questions the curriculum, who sees through the busy work, who doesn't conform, they're labeled disruptive, or gifted, or worse, a problem to be managed. We clip their wings so they can fit inside the cage. Then we wonder why they stop trying to fly. But the scariest thing about intelligent people isn't their intellect, it's their vision. Their ability to connect dots others don't even see, to imagine worlds that don't exist yet, to expose hypocrisy with a single sentence. They force society to look at itself in a mirror, and not everyone likes the reflection. That's why intelligence often walks hand in hand with loneliness. Because who do you talk to when everyone else is still asking the wrong questions? Who do you confide in when your thoughts feel like a foreign language? Many intelligent people learn to hide their depth. They shrink themselves to fit. They fake laughter. They nod at nonsense. They learn that being understood is rare, and that truth is often too heavy to share freely. But here's the paradox. It's these same minds that hold the key to evolution. They're the ones who break the cycle, who dismantle toxic traditions, who ask not how do we fit in, but why does this exist at all? They're the ones who remind us that comfort isn't the goal, growth is. So if you're someone who feels too much, thinks too deeply, asks questions that make others uncomfortable, understand this. You're not broken, you're ahead. And yes, it's a lonely road, but it's also a necessary one. Because the world doesn't change when everyone agrees. It changes when someone dares to disagree, to challenge, to rebel, not with anger, but with insight. And maybe that's why intelligence scares society. Not because it threatens violence, but because it threatens transformation, because it pulls back the curtain and says, look, there's more. More than the routine, more than the mask, more than the roles we've all agreed to play. Intelligence forces us to evolve, and evolution is always uncomfortable. So the next time you feel like your mind makes you an outsider, remember, you're not alone. There are others out there, quietly observing, quietly thinking, waiting for the world to catch up. Until then, keep seeing, keep thinking, keep questioning, because the future doesn't belong to the obedient, it belongs to the visionary. If this message stirred something in you, pause, sit with it, then let it move you. Share your thoughts in the comments, like the video if it made you feel understood. Subscribe for more perspectives that go deeper than the surface. Because here we don't just talk, we think. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most radical thing we can do.